small till it ain't, till it ain't, till it ain't, till it ain't. I'm building up a wall till it breaks. She hated when I call and it's late. I don't wanna keep you waiting. I hope I never keep you waiting. She think I know it all, but I don't.
Hi, welcome to the Mixtape with Scott. I'm the host, Scott Cunningham. I'm a professor of economics at Baylor University in Waco, Texas. This week's guest on the Mixtape with Scott is Vítor Possebom. Vítor is an assistant professor at Sao Paulo School of Economics. He's a mix, like many econometricians that I talk to more these days. That's probably birds of a feather flocking together, though. He is an econometrician that is also does both a lot of applied work and also sort of creates econometric tools for the applied community. Vitor is, like I said, an econometrician. He works on topics in causal inference. He also works on topics in applied area with crime and violence and other interesting topics. I'm going to turn it over to me and him right now, but for those that are just tuning in for the first time, this is a mixtape about the personal lives of living economists. It differs a little bit, or maybe a lot even, from other economics themed podcasts. We don't really talk about, maybe we talk about economics. I mean, we do talk about economics as you go, but it's economics insofar as it's relevant to the personal story of an economist, which it is, but it's important to get the order in order. This is about Vítor and his life, what he chose to share over about hour 15, hour and a half with me. And it was really interesting. And it was opportunity to get to talk to him, get to know him a little bit better. We'd only really spoken a little bit before this. So I'm going to turn this over to those guys now. And thank you so much for being a listener. Share this, like it, subscribe. I think you're supposed to say all those words if you do stuff like this. So share it, like it, subscribe. And but more than anything, thank you so much for listening. And I hope that this is fun as it was for me. Well, it's a pleasure to have today's guest. We used to chat more on social media, but haven't talked in a long time.
That is true.
For the sake of the listeners, could you tell us your full name and your title and who your boss, who writes your paychecks?
All right. So thank you, Scott, for inviting me here. It's a great pleasure to be on your podcast. I guess my full academic name is Vítor Possebom. As most Brazilians and Latin Americans, I have other last names too, other surnames, but that's the name I use, Vítor Possebom. So thank you for inviting me. I'm currently a assistant professor at the São Paulo School of Economics from FGV. So FGV is one of the big institutes here in Brazil. We have courses in economics, international affairs, public administration, business administration, history, and I think journalism too. We have the schools are independent from each other. We actually have two schools in economics, one in São Paulo and another in Rio. I'm currently working at the one in São Paulo.
Oh, okay, cool. Great. Well, we're going to talk a lot about that because you've been there a long time, even though you're an
I'm starting my fourth year. I just started my fourth year here.
Yeah, but you were an undergrad, right? And
I was an undergrad, yes,
Yeah.
undergrad and the master students there.
Right. Okay, cool. Well, before we get started, I was wanting to do an icebreaker. Can you tell me about a vacation that you've gone on that you not necessarily it doesn't have to be your favorite one, and it doesn't even have to be a good one. It could be like a terrible one, but you still think about it every now and then.
So I'd say I visited the Amazon twice. Both times it was really, really interesting and remarkable for me. The first time was still during high school.
Yeah.
I think it kind of connected me to the more microeconomic parts of economics because
Hmm.
like I was very used to like finance and macroeconomics because that's what you see in the newspapers.
Hmm.
Uh, but then I went. It was a school trip to the Amazon,
Hmm.
and there we actually talked with researchers in biology, in the social sciences, and that's when I kind of started to discover a little bit about what we know now. I now know as microeconomics.
Oh.
At that time, I was just a high schooler. And then years after that, I went again to the Amazon for my honeymoon.
Oh.
So of course, any honeymoon trip will be remarkable, I would say. And it's an amazing place. The Amazon is definitely one place that I think most people should try to visit at least once.
Hmm.
Either in Brazil or Peru or Colombia. I think it's a really gorgeous place.
Hmm. Had you, is it even being from Brazil? Is it kind of exotic to go to the Amazon?
Yes. So to give you some context, Brazil is larger than the 48 states of the US, so like the contiguous states. So if you remove Alaska, and Hawaii doesn't matter that much, it's small islands. But if you remove Alaska, Brazil is larger than the US.
Oh.
Um, and most inhabitants in Brazil, most Brazilians, they live very close to the coast. So Rio, for example, is exactly in the coast. São Paulo is like an hour away from the coast.
Hmm.
So most Brazilians live very close to the Atlantic Ocean. Imagine that. Imagine that like 70% of the American population lives in the East Coast.
Right.
That's basically what Brazil is.
Hmm.
Then the countryside of Brazil is very empty. Like we have one large state in the countryside, then we have the federal capital, and if you move to the western part, it's very empty.
Wow.
And that's basically where the Amazon is.
Oh, I see.
Uh, so, for example, the largest city in the middle of the Amazon is 4 hours, 4 hours and a half from São Paulo. So, you have to take a flight, and it takes 4 hours and a half to get there.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
like, it's literally impossible to go by car. Like, it's not possible to cross the Amazon with a car.
Huh.
So,
Even
it is very exotic.
why with so much land is the rest of Brazil not developed and urban? Because, I would think that is there something about that area or is it protected?
So most of the Amazon forest nowadays is are either national parks or native Brazilians parks, reserves. I think that's the word you guys use for the Native Americans. Reservations.
Right.
So most of the area we try to protect it in some way. Of course, it's hard. It's a very large territory, and there is deforestation. There are a lot of fires, uh, but we try to protect it as intensely as possible.
I see.
Uh,
Wow. So what did you do when you were in the Amazon on your
so
honeymoon? What was it like? I mean, you're seeing that's got to be maybe that was like nicer when you were in high school. Was it?
I would say both times were really nice. Like both times I went like to areas that are very deep into the Amazon, so it's very far away from the areas that are currently deforested.
Yeah.
Um, and like mostly you hike, uh, and I would say it's very different from hiking in parks in the US,
Oh,
because like the forest is very dense. So, for example, I went to the Grand Canyon, right? It's basically a desert, and you
yeah.
can see everything, and you have those like amazing views from the canyon. The Amazon is very different because like you don't have like a landscape to see because the forest is dense, the forest is there.
Right.
But you have a lot of birds.
Mm.
It's common to see monkeys,
Mm.
gators. Um, there's it's also easy to see the river otter,
Yeah.
which is not as friendly as the sea otter.
Oh, it's not very
Uh,
friendly.
Not friendly at all.
Can
Uh,
you get in the water? Because I think am I thinking of the right place where there's like piranha?
so piranhas, it's very uncommon for them to actually attack people.
Ah,
Um, but people like you have to go with a guide, right? Don't go
uh,
there by yourself. You have to go there with a guide because then the guide knows where there will be where it will be like a piranha place or a gator place,
right.
and like they know how to avoid those areas.
I bet you're proud of, as in Brazil, I bet you're proud of having the Amazon River.
I I do love like I similar to the US. I think we are large countries, right? So there's a lot of variety in the country as a whole, and there are a lot of gorgeous places. The Amazon is definitely one of them. But even like in the eastern coast of Brazil, we have the Atlantic jungle.
Mm.
It's much smaller now because like that's where people live. But you still have like many national parks and state parks with very large tropical forests that are very close to large urban areas.
Mm.
And they are also gorgeous. Or
Mm.
we have um, also the semi-arid region. Like that would be more like the Grand Canyon, right? Not a complete desert, but very arid.
Mm.
With those like bigger landscapes, with interesting like rock formations. So there's a lot of variety. I think that it's a great place for tourism. Like
Yeah.
I have been trying to visit my own country more often.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that sounds beautiful. I hadn't actually thought about visiting the Amazon, but as a kid, you would just always, I mean, was it as a kid in the United States, the number of videos or something, or maybe it was movies of just all those piranhas just like attacking. It was like
I
all,
think there's a famous movie like
oh,
Piranhas 3D. Like
yeah. Did you grow up kind of thinking about that, or is it if you're from Brazil, you just think, no, that's not how it really is?
I think I never saw it like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't think like there are definitely. It's not a place that you can visit by yourself. It's really useful to have a guide. But honestly, like snakes are probably the worst thing that can happen to you.
Yeah. Oh, snakes scare me to death. Well, so tell me where you grew up. Did you grow up in São Paulo?
Yes, I
Oh,
was born and raised in São Paulo. Um, and I actually love São Paulo. Like I think it's a great city. It's in some ways similar to New York City, right? It's not like San Francisco or Rio with like mountains and different landscapes. It's a city that likes to be a city.
mm,
So very dense, very cosmopolitan.
mm.
The food's really good. Like you can find restaurants from all over the world. Um, there's a lot of museums, theaters. So I like this like cosmopolitan vibe
Yeah.
that we find here in São Paulo.
Did you grow up like in the urban part of São Paulo? Or was it
So
like,
São Paulo, like there's only urban parts in São Paulo. Like
not like
there
20
are
million
like
people?
2% of the land area in São Paulo is not urban.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
it really is highly dense. What, 20 million people?
so the city is 12 million people.
12 million.
The metropolitan area will be like 20 million.
Oh, okay. So you grew up, where in the city did you grow up?
So I most of my childhood and teenage years, I lived in a neighboring city, Guarulhos.
Mm,
That's basically, for example, if you actually take a plane here, the airport is in Guarulhos.
mm,
Um, so I wouldn't describe it as a suburb. It's not a suburb of São Paulo. It's closely connected to the city, but I think it's more like Newark. Like it is a urban area. It's not suburbs.
yeah.
Um, and then for my high school, I moved to São Paulo.
Oh, okay.
And then it was like very close to downtown area.
Oh, you grew up
And
that
actually,
right in the middle.
yes.
Wow. Wow. Well, so what was your childhood? What did your parents do for a living?
So, my mother is a high school teacher,
Mm.
and my father is actually a police officer.
Oh, wow. Huh. Is that why'd they move? Why'd you guys move?
So my father retired just when I started high school,
Uh,
and my mother got a job in a school in São Paulo.
mm,
And then we decided to move. I got a scholarship for a really good high school here in São Paulo. Like
yeah.
that's one thing that is very like Brazil and the US are very different. Like um, if 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 you want a good education for your kids at the high school at the basic, middle, and high school levels, you really need to pay for a private school.
I see.
Uh, so I got a scholarship here in São Paulo, and that was a really good opportunity for me. That also one of the reasons why we moved.
So I wouldn't think you were so old that your father would have retired. Were you sort of the youngest, or is it something
No,
else?
my father started to work really, really young.
Oh,
Uh, my Actually, my father started working as a 11-year-old.
what?
Uh,
In the
yeah, that
police?
is not legal. That is not legal. And it wasn't legal at that time.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but he has had a formal job since he was 14 years old.
Wow.
So if you have a formal job since you are 14, it's not that difficult to retire when you're 50. Uh,
Oh. Wait, was he always in the police department though?
no, he started in a factory.
Okay.
So basically, most of my grand uncles and also a large share of my uncles, they were blue collar workers,
Mm,
and my father started working as a blue collar work.
mm,
He didn't enjoy that much, and he wanted to go to high school, but my grandmother couldn't afford, so he went to the only high school that actually paid a wage, which
mm.
was the Air Force High School.
Oh.
So that's when he joined the armored forces. Initially, he wanted to go to the armored forces, especially the Air Force. But similarly to me, my father has myopia, and you can't be a fighter pilot if you have myopia.
Oh.
So he settled for the closest option in São Paulo, and that would be like a police officer.
But he was a police officer in that neighboring town.
No, he was a police. Yes, police forces in Brazil are at the state level,
Oh.
not the city level.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow. So are you an only child? Do you have
I
siblings?
am an only child.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay. Well, so when you were little and you lived before high school, what kind of stuff did you enjoy? What kind of games and, how did you enjoy your leisure?
So I always like board games. Like I played board games as a young kid. I play board games now.
Oh,
That's something I always enjoyed. Uh, During middle school, I still enjoyed sports. Sports are not as big here as in the US.
oh, really?
Uh, like at least my impression from the US, the high school experience has a lot of sports.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the case in Brazil. Like
Mm,
we have football or soccer,
right.
that's huge in the country,
Yeah.
but it's not related to the formal education system.
Oh,
Uh,
right. Right.
so like
Take that for
during middle
granted.
school,
Yeah.
I still played futsal, like the indoors soccer with
Okay.
just 5 players.
Hmm.
Um, but honestly, like at some point, I didn't grow as much as it was expected. Like I'm a short person.
Hmm.
And then like it was like, yeah, you don't have the physical strength necessary for that.
Hmm.
And then yeah, I'm really good studying, right? I like that.
What kind of board
Uh,
games were you playing as a little kid? What kind of stuff did you like and what do you like now?
So at that point, I think the two board games I played the most would be Monopoly,
Okay.
um, and the board game in Portuguese is War, but it's not the same name in English. That board game, like there's a world map and you have
Risk?
objectives to.
Is it Risk?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Um, so I played those two quite a lot. And I also enjoyed chess at that point,
Ah,
chess and checkers. Uh,
were you playing that with your family? Board games with your parents?
yes, most of my parents.
Okay.
Yes, also my cousins.
Oh, okay. Was that hard moving from where you lived into high school, going to this new high school?
Uh, I wouldn't say so. It was a very large high school, so there's a lot of variety in terms of like what people did. It was also like a nerdy high school.
Ah,
So in some sense, that was actually easier for me.
mm.
I did a lot of models of United Nations. I
Oh,
was one of those like weird social science kids that likes to model the UN. So like get a suit and pretend to be to represent a different country. That was a lot of fun for me. I did a lot of those.
yeah.
Uh, so in some sense, it was good because I was always a very nerd kid.
Mm.
So going to a larger high school, it was useful because there were more people who were
Oh, okay.
nerds.
So you weren't worried about making friends? You didn't find it difficult to make friends as a person?
I wouldn't say so. If anything, I do keep in contact with a lot of my high school friends.
Okay. Well, so how did you get into this program? Was that something that you were seeking, or was it something your parents were seeking?
So I have always been academically ambitious.
Okay.
So I knew I wanted to go to a more, let's say, intense high school,
Yeah.
academically intense high school. And there are a few of them in São Paulo. I applied to a few of them, got accepted at some of them.
Hmm.
Uh, but at the end of the day, like Bandeirantes, that's the name of my high school. Uh, I was really impressed by it. It's a very American style school.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of competition. Like it's very competitive, and I at that point in my life, I enjoyed that environment.
Hmm.
Um, it was a good environment for me as a teenager.
Yeah.
I do see that this is not a good environment for every teenager,
Hmm.
but that kind of competition, it was useful to me. Like uh, I, I, I would say I work well under pressure.
Hmm.
That was good for me.
So you said social science. But was it like known for, was it more you were inclined towards social science or were you inclined towards mathematics or is it just like all subjects?
So, uh, definitely not the health sciences, biology, chemistry. I was not a fan of those. I got good scores, but I was not a fan. But like in Brazil, we have to choose our college major when we finish high school. Like when we apply to university, we have to choose the major.
Okay.
And I chose economics, like that's my undergraduate degree. And basically, the reason why I chose economics was I like history, I like math. That's the major that combines both of them.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
that is a common, digamos, let's say, it's a common way of choosing economics in Brazil. Like you are
oh, is that right?
the kid that likes math, likes physics, also likes history and geography, and then what's the course that offers all those things?
Yeah,
I do
right.
the economics.
Right. So they had it in high school. You took one class or more than one class in high school that was
No,
econ?
no. I didn't take economics during high school.
Oh,
Like the high school curriculum in Brazil is more closed than the American one, especially at that time. So it's basically like um, we have a lot of subjects. A lot of subjects are mandatory. So you have to take, of course, Portuguese, math, uh, then history, geography, physics, chemistry, and biology are all mandatory. Um, and like the classes that I enjoyed the most were history, geography, and math.
yeah.
And that's the reason why I thought, yeah, economics sounds like a good idea for college.
Right. Okay. So how many universities do you apply to?
So I applied to only two universities. Um, I applied to University of São Paulo and São Paulo School of Economics. And to be fair,
Wait, did those are
uh,
two places? University of
yes,
São Paulo and São Paulo School of Economics?
yeah, those would be like the two top places for economics in the city of São Paulo.
Okay.
It's not if you're born in São Paulo or Rio, it's not common for you to move
Oh,
to go to university because like there are many good options within those two cities.
I
So you
see.
tend to stay in one of those two cities.
I see.
If you're from the countryside, then like if you're from other states, then it's more common to move.
I see.
So I only applied to University of São Paulo and São Paulo School of Economics.
Hmm.
I do have to say that I personally I would have applied only to University of São Paulo. I was not only ambitious but a bit arrogant as a high schooler, and I was like, no, I'm sure I'm gonna get approved, get accepted at University of São Paulo, so I do not need to apply to any other university. Because like University of São Paulo is free. Like state schools in Brazil are free. The São Paulo School of Economics is a private institution, so it has tuition. You have to pay tuition. And I was like, I don't need to apply for for São Paulo School of Economics. I do not want to pay tuition. I'm gonna get accepted at the University of São Paulo. But my mother was like, no, you should apply. You should apply at least as to be safe. So I applied. I had a really good performance in the entrance exam, so they
Hmm.
offered me full scholarship.
Oh,
Uh, so at the end of the day, I had like two options that were free.
uh-huh.
University of São Paulo because it was free, and the São Paulo School of Economics because I had a full scholarship. Um, and I went to the visit day here at São Paulo School of Economics. I had the opportunity to talk with the dean, and I really enjoyed the project. It was a small school. Like University of São Paulo is very big, right?
Right.
Uh, Somewhat like the American universities, like big classrooms, lecture style.
Hmm.
Um, the São Paulo School of Economics, we had a cohort of like 40 people.
Hmm.
So a much smaller school, we were much closer to the faculty. It was a very ambitious program. At the time, um, I was class number six.
Oh,
So there were only like five classes before mine. Um, and but we had a very ambitious mindset. I enjoyed that mindset, and I said, yeah, I'm gonna bet here. And it was an amazing experience. I really enjoyed doing my undergrad and my master's here at the São Paulo School of Economics.
Mm, mm. Well, so you get there and it's weird because I was trying to of course I know of universities that are graduate programs that are like Paris School of Economics or Barcelona School of Economics, or there'll be just like School of Economics in Europe that are graduate level, as I understand it. I had not seen a place before doing learning about it for your interview of a college or a university, but it's inside another university. Is that right? FG.
Exactly, like it's inside the Getúlio Vargas Foundation.
Oh, okay.
And then the departments are called schools. I'd
Oh, I
say,
got it.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Although the departments are very independent from each other.
Well, did you think when you got in, what were you thinking economics was going to be when you got there? Because you'd already had
So,
that Amazon experience where you were like already starting to think it's not just stocks and stuff, right?
yeah, like, of course, I think I started economics. When I started economics, I thought I want to be the central banker.
Right.
Uh, and now I don't like macro. I find it
Uh-huh.
very boring. But at that point, like being the central banker, that was my dream.
Okay.
Um, but like I already knew about trade. The trade is another topic that shows up in the newspapers quite a lot. Right
Yeah.
now, it's showing up a lot.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
um, but very soon, I so we have econometrics, we have stats in the second semester, and econometrics in the third semester. So we start doing econometrics very early on.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the mindset of using data to understand concrete problems.
Mm.
And my stats professor and my metrics professor, they were all like connected to the applied micro side of economics.
Oh,
So all the examples were in some way connected with microeconomics instead of macroeconomics.
okay.
Also, for example, I used Woodridge textbook instead of Stock and Watson.
Uh,
Woodridge is a much more micro person than either Scott or
right.
Stock or Watson.
Right.
So, like in the first year and the beginning of my second year, I already started having contact with applied micro,
Uh-huh.
and that was basically like I enjoyed studying that. I thought it interesting. I really like that. And then
You
that's how
immediately liked it?
I would say so. Yes.
Mm. Both for the
I
econometrics and the data part?
yes, the data part I really enjoyed. I also enjoyed like analyzing like concrete problems. Like at that point, Brazil was booming, so like inflation was not such a big issue. Um, but like Bolsa Familia, a conditional cash transfer program, was a gigantic issue in the country. Like we had a lot of debates about that. We were expanding the college education in Brazil. Like we were opening a lot of universities, a lot of private and state universities.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of discussion at the policy level about applied micro topics.
Mm.
So I think like this contact through newspapers, also the São Paulo School of Economics faculty here, we at the point I would say we because now I'm faculty here.
Yeah.
We always try to bring concrete examples to class, discuss actual policies, not only like weird examples.
Mm.
So like I think this connection with problems that were relevant to Brazil at that point, like
Right.
fighting poverty and so on, were key for me to actually enjoy those classes.
Yeah. Did you uh when is it that you start thinking I want to go to graduate school? Or were you already thinking that before you got there?
So during college, I did pretty much everything. Uh, so I did. So the during college in Brazil, we can do this as a extracurricular. We can do a research project. So I did a research project in sociology. I uh, TA'd for metrics courses. I was an intern at first an intern in the Brazilian Wall Street. I was an intern at a bank.
Hmm.
Actually,
While you're in college?
while in college,
Okay. Is that
I
common to do
wasn't.
something like that? Is that a common thing?
I think so. Like summer
Okay.
internships are common. Also, since you choose your major at the beginning of university, you have 4 years of economics, so you can do a lot of stuff that is econ
Right.
related.
Of course.
So I also interned at a consultancy company. I uh, took extra classes of real analysis,
Mm,
uh, and I was really intense with respect to my senior thesis. I put a lot of effort there.
mm.
Uh, and actually, like, the thing I enjoyed most was the senior thesis. And I was like, yeah, so let's go to grad school.
Yeah. What'd you write your thesis on?
So I wrote my thesis in economics of education.
Mm,
Um, at that point, I think school accountability was a very big thing.
mm,
Like David Figlio, Hanushek, they were writing and publishing many papers on school accountability.
yeah.
Sergio Urzua, another person who worked with school accountability at that point. Um, and most papers are about the US, and the US is mostly public schools. So the school accountability systems are regulatory, right? They state says this is a good school, this is not a good school. If you have a bad score, you have to do this, then this, and this. Of course, people can move from one school district to another, but that's basically the only way you have to choose a school in the US, right? You have to move to a different place.
Mm,
Brazil has a somewhat large private school system. Of course, most people go to the public system, but we have a large private school system.
mhm,
And then people can actually move from one school to another without the need to move from your house.
mm,
There's more than one school in each neighborhood, so it's very easy to choose your school. And at that point, we had a evaluation exam for the high schools, and the government decided to make the exam, the scores of each school, the average scores of each school, public information.
mm,
And that got into newspapers. Some schools, like people were very surprised by their low scores because they were like high reputation schools, very fancy, very expensive.
mm,
But the scores were not as good as people expected.
mm.
Others had scores that were better than expected. So now you have this informational shock in the private school market. And
Yeah.
my senior thesis was like how we evaluate the effects of this informational shock on prices.
Mm. Wow, that's ambitious for an undergraduate thesis. That's pretty impressive.
It was quite a nice project. We actually submitted to a few journals. We got rejected,
Uh-huh.
but
It was you and a
it was an
professor?
idea by my advisor. Like he told me his idea. I enjoyed the topic, so we worked on that.
Mm,
It was really interesting. I really enjoyed, and I learned a lot. Like the amount of data work, the amount of like how careful you have to be in order to work with large data sets.
yeah.
Like we had micro level data at the price level, right? We had like every school. We had a sample of schools, and for each school we had their actual like prices, the tuition price of each school. So it was really interesting to work with this type of data.
Yeah. That's cool. So you stay, though, you do your master's twice. You do your master's at San Paulo School of Economics. And why do you do that? Why don't you go directly to do your PhD?
So getting into American university for the PhD is tough.
Mm,
And the further you are from the US, the tougher it is.
mm.
So if you look at my classmates, the ones that came straight from undergrad were they either did their undergrad at the US or Oxbridge.
Mm.
Uh, my other classmates, the one who didn't do their undergrad in the US or didn't, or in the UK, mostly Oxbridge, all of them had masters.
Ah,
So the Italians, the Koreans, the Japanese, the Brazilians, all of them had master's programs because
mm,
like doing a master's is one way to signal that one, you have the necessary skills because like you actually did the same type of classes that you are going to do in the
yeah.
first year of the PhD. And also you do have a master thesis which is a actual research paper. Like
Yeah.
I published my master thesis. It's my paper with Sergio about synthetic controls.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, like I did two research projects during my master's.
Uh,
Both of them got published. One, my master thesis, is the paper with Sergio about synthetic controls
yeah.
and how to conduct inference. The other one is my cherry picking paper with Bruno
Really?
Ferman and Cristine Pinto.
You did both of those as a master's student?
I started both of those as a master student. I finished it
Ah,
as a or second year PhD student.
wait, but Furman and Pinto are more your age, right? Were they professors? Were they
Uh, uh,
classmates?
no, they were professors. They are a bit
Oh,
older than me.
oh, maybe I think I'm a young person and I'm actually an old person like them. Okay, got it. So they were your professors.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Wow. Well, so how long was the program? It was 1 year,
It's a 2 year and a half master's program.
2.5 years.
Yes, 1 year and a half of classes, 1 year of research.
Got it. Okay. So, so you are you applying everywhere after that experience? After your
So
master's?
most students in Brazil, it can be São Paulo School of Economics, or it can be FGV Rio or PUC Rio. Most of them apply around like 10 to 20 schools
Mm,
in the US. It depends a bit on the exchange rate. Uh, so when I was planning my applications, the exchange rate was really favorable towards the
mm.
Brazilian real. So I wanted to apply to 20 schools, 22 schools.
Hey, how did you know
Uh,
what the reject? So you knew what the rejection rate was for Brazilians because you had not a lot of schools. You could calculate it.
and also like the faculty like the best Brazilian schools, we are always sending our students to the US, so like
Yeah.
like the faculty has a lot of information about that.
Oh,
They know like which student is more likely to get accepted in which place.
mm,
We have been playing this game a lot,
right.
uh, and we are, I would say, very successful in play. We now like the big three Brazilian schools, the two FGVs, the one in São Paulo and the one in Rio and PUC Rio, we have been successful in placing students in the US for a while.
Oh,
Um, so like initially I wanted to apply to 22 schools, then the exchange rate went nuts.
oh,
Literally the real lost half of its value
oh,
in like 6 months.
wow.
And then I was like, all right, my budget is still the same because my budget is in reais, but it costs twice as much to apply. So
Wow.
instead of applying to 22 schools, I applied to 11.
Oh, wow.
Um, and again, I was a uh, ambitious and arrogant person. It was risky. I wouldn't do that like today. I wouldn't be as risky as I was at that time. Um, I think like uh, my I wouldn't say safe choice, but if you like, let's say you take Repack and rank the schools. The worst position was University of Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
Uh, so yes, I took a lot of risk. I wouldn't do that now. I don't recommend my students to do that.
Yeah.
Um, but um,
That was your 11th school?
yes, that was my 11th school. Uh,
That's awesome.
uh, and but like at that point, the São Paulo School of Economics already had some good placements. Like we were still a young university.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
that's right. You said you were the sixth cohort.
yes. So we actually I we started in 2024.
Hmm.
So we had like when I was applying to the PhD, we had 10 cohorts before mine.
Okay.
Uh, and we already had some good placements. Like just the year before mine, one of our students went to Northwestern. The year before that, University of Michigan. So we had some good placements. The faculty were confident, and actually, it went all right. My cohort was really good. Like we got placements. Like all my friends and I. Some like we went to Berkeley, Brown, Yale, LSE. It was a really good cohort.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Was Yale so Yale is what you must have been, I mean, because you're a super ambitious student, maybe it doesn't feel like maybe how it might to many people, but was it like really exciting when you got
it
in?
was like
Yeah.
I got accepted at Yale, Columbia, and Chicago.
Mm,
Um, and I already enjoyed metrics at that point. Like my master thesis was in metrics.
yeah.
And Yale and Chicago are great places for metrics.
Yeah.
So I was definitely very, very happy. Like applying to the PhD is always a mess, right? It's a very anxiety-inducing process.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, at that point, I enjoyed running, and so I was really anxious. And I remember an episode that I went to the machine where you run
The
the
treadmill.
trend, yes, the treadmill, uh, and at that gym, the treadmill had a TV, and it was like actually Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. It
Yeah.
had just started, and I watched the full movie while running. I
For like
couldn't
three
walk the next
hours.
day, but it was a good way to calm me
Oh,
down.
because you were so anxious.
Exactly.
Right, 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 right.
Uh, so of course, like Columbia was the first place that sent good news to me. I
Yeah.
was like happy as fuck. Uh, so it was. I was really happy with my results.
Yeah.
I visited both schools, all three schools, Columbia, Yale, and Chicago.
Yeah.
Um, I enjoyed all of them. In particular, I like beautiful campus, and then Chicago and Yale have campus that I find more interesting.
Mm,
Uh, and for some reason, I felt really good at Yale.
mm.
I don't know, like they always take the visiting students, the prospies to bar, like it's a bar called Bar. Uh, and there's the famous New Haven potato pizza.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I really enjoyed the potato pizza.
Yeah.
There was something at Yale that I was like, this sounds a bit magic. Um, and yeah, let's go to Yale.
Wow. Wait, were you married at that time?
No, not at that point in time. I met my wife at Yale.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you go to Yale. What was that first year like? Since you'd already done these graduate classes, are they on the same level as what you experienced at Yale?
I would say so. Especially like micro theory was very similar.
Mm,
Like I haven't studied Mac design before, but like
mm,
that was the only new thing
hmm.
in the micro sequence.
Yeah.
Macroeconomics is weird, right? In the sense that like people know really well what they must teach in microeconomics during the first year and metrics in the first year.
Yeah.
But macro, it varies
Yeah.
between schools. So there was like more new content for me just because there's
Right.
no standardized course across all schools.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Metrics at Yale, we have two sequences for metrics. We have the standard sequence, metrics 1 and metrics 2.
Yeah. Mm,
Metrics 1 is like more stats, law of large
mm,
numbers, central limit theorem, a little bit of M estimators.
yeah.
And then metrics 2 is the more standard tools of econometrics, OLS, three-stage least squares, general method of moments, and all the asymptotic theory of those guys.
Yeah.
Um, but they also offer the sequence metrics 1 and metrics 3. You basically you change 2 for 3. And metrics 3 is the metrics for econometricians. So the asymptotic theory is done in a quicker way and a more in-depth way, like it's in 1 month and a half, the entire new McFadden in 1994.
Mm,
And then you have time to discuss non-parametric estimation, non-parametric identification, and a bit of bootstrap. And also, like I think one thing,
but you don't have to take it.
no, it's
Everything you
not
have to take.
mandatory.
So, but you kind of realize how quickly did you realize I want to be an econometrician?
I went to the PhD with that in mind.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did.
yeah, and
Why?
like I
Had people
read,
told you that? Had people kind
uh,
of made some comments that they saw it in you?
like I enjoyed metrics at the undergrad and the master levels. I did my master thesis in metrics.
Yeah.
So I was already very involved with metrics.
Mm,
And like Yuichi, I think it was Yuichi Kitamura was my metrics 3 professor.
mm,
And I think it was the first course that decided to separately teach identification, estimation, and the inference.
mm,
Because like they send textbooks, like even the grad level ones, Wooldridge, Green, they do not separate those three things, right? Um, but Yuichi in his course, he very clearly separate those things.
mm,
And I really enjoyed the identification part.
mm,
So I knew that that would be like what I wanted. Like I enjoyed that course and I enjoyed discussing identification. And then it was very natural for me to start doing research in identification related topics, especially because identification related topics are also closer to applied work.
yeah.
And I also like applied work. I have a few applied papers, working papers.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very natural to kind of work in the middle between like theoretical metrics and applied work.
that was one of the questions I had later, which was, I didn't know if it was, but it's definitely clear with you, that you definitely have these two hats, this applied person, but I wasn't sure, some people that are econometricians, they'll say, they don't say it quite like this, but they want to work on tools that applied people like. But I don't know if I always felt that when I was reading your papers. They also felt like a person that was working on empirical papers because they also liked empirical papers. Is that right?
So
I mean, I don't know if that's even a distinction that's worth mentioning, but is it like you have two brains, kind of?
I wouldn't say two brains, but I wouldn't say that I like to work with tools that applied people like.
You would not
Uh,
say that. You would not.
yeah, I would not say that.
Right.
Uh, I like to work in problems that are useful for applied people.
Yeah.
Like I do partial identification. Like, come on, applied people do not like partial identification. Like any econometrician who works with a partial identification, our dream is to become an appendix. Like, uh, like if we can be like appendix K, we are happy. Appendix B, that's awesome.
That's
Uh,
hilarious.
so uh, I wouldn't say I work with popular tools,
Right.
but I
Right.
work with tools that I find useful for applied people.
But is it because they're useful for applied people, or is it because I am an applied person and this is useful for me? Is it like, because I guess like sometimes I hear an econometrician say, I work on applied things that I work on econometric tools that applied people would find useful. It sounds altruistic. It sounds like, well, I'm just going to do this for other people. But is that what, but I couldn't get out of bed to do something like that. It takes forever to work on a project. So it was like all my projects really are for me. They're like, so what is is that more like you are?
Like, I would say I enjoy doing what I do. Like, I derive intrinsic value from that.
Yeah.
I'm also, I do applied work,
Yeah.
but I find applied work anxiety inducing.
Really?
Yeah, because like I do not control everything, right?
Yeah.
I can have a really good research design,
Right.
but I chose a question that I have to reject the no, otherwise it's not gonna get published.
Right. Right.
And whether it will reject the no or not, it does not depend on me.
Yeah.
Or I may have a really good research question and a research design, but I need to get access to these amazing data sets.
Yeah.
And then my partner doesn't want to give me access to that.
Right.
Um, so um, I or like I'm doing an RCT, and there are so many things that can go wrong in
Yeah.
RCT.
Yeah.
Like it's not obvious whether you'll be able to get responses from the individuals who are participating in your RCT,
Yeah.
uh, or whether the surveyors will actually do a good job and track people down.
Right.
Many things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Or you make a partnership with a training center, and they promised you an amazing course, an amazing training course, and actually they are bad at their jobs, and the
Right.
course is bad. So many things can go wrong, and
Mm.
I don't like to not have control over those things.
Mm.
So I find theoretical work more peaceful,
Mm.
because if I'm not able to derive the results of a theorem, I'm the only one to be blamed for that.
Right.
Um,
Oh yeah, you can't blame you can't. Uh, but that also means you could you control all of it. So it's like
exactly,
you could say I didn't do it, but that also means I might still be able to do it, or I know it's not possible, or something like that.
exactly. So
Right.
I at least like the success or the failure. That's due to me. Like,
Mm,
I, I'm the only one to get, let's say, the happiness of victory or the blame for the failure. Like,
yeah, right.
and I like this. Like, I like to be on control.
Well, so are
Uh,
you interested in causal inference, potential outcomes, all of that while you're taking those econometrics classes? Like, is that coming up? And where is it coming up?
so the first time it like the potential outcomes, causal inference mindset showed up was when I took microeconometrics at the master's level. That
Oh,
was the
okay.
first time I saw this type of model.
Yeah, because you're doing all the
Uh,
synthetic control stuff.
exactly.
Hmm.
Um, and I really enjoyed that. Like that course was amazing. I really enjoyed that
Hmm.
course. Um, and I'm actually the one teaching this course
Oh,
now.
that's, I bet you love that.
Uh,
Who taught it?
uh,
Who taught it when you were there?
at that time, the course was taught by Sergio Firpo,
Oh, okay.
um, and André Portela. André Portela is an applied person.
Hmm.
That was another interesting aspect of the course. Like we
Hmm.
always had an applied person who knows policy evaluation very closely, like someone who has run experiments.
Ah,
Um, so it was a really good course with both sides, like the more theoretical part taught
were they
by
using
Sergio
mostly
Firpo.
harmless?
Um,
What year was it?
no,
What
it
year
was
was
paper
it?
based. It was paper based. Uh,
Was what?
a paper based course.
Oh, it was a paper-based course as a master
Yes.
student?
Yes.
Huh.
That's one thing. Like in Brazil, the master and the PhD are the same courses.
Yeah, right.
It changes like how many courses you have to
Oh,
take, but the courses are the same.
got it. Got it.
Um,
So you took that in your master's program. Are you getting any of that in any of those three econometrics classes? Causal
so
inference, potential outcomes stuff?
uh, During the PhD, that wasn't present in the econometrics
Oh,
courses
okay.
at Yale.
Yeah.
It was actually very common to see that in the applied courses like labor economics.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you take labor?
I took labor. Labor is my second field. Like Yale requires you to take two field exams to choose two fields. My fields were metrics and labor.
Who taught your labor classes?
Uh, Costas Meguiar, Joel Tongi, and Yusuke Narita.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And although I haven't taken any courses with him, John Eric Humphreys was a big influence
Oh. Oh.
on me too.
How many faculty were there
At
at Yale?
Yale, whoa, I think in total like something like 40.
Hmm. And so who
Like
who are you?
metrics we had like Ed, Don, Xiao Hong, Yuichi, at that time Tim Armstrong and Peter Phillips. So
Yeah.
six metrics.
Yeah.
Labor slash public and political economy. Then we had a lot.
Hmm.
Costas, Joe, Ebonia, at the senior level. Yeah, those three public. Then Joe Shapiro was there at that point in time. Cormac arrived. John Eric arrived. Yusuke Narita was there.
Who are you
And those are
gravitating towards? Who do you notice that you're like wanting to, for some reason, keep talking to?
so the people I talked the most of them were kind of like this midfield between applied work and theoretical metrics work, like people who have written applied papers and theoretical papers. So at Vitlasil, John Eric Humphreys, Yusuke Narita, all three of them had this type of work, right? People who write theoretical papers but also write applied papers.
Yeah.
Um, and Xiao Hong Shen. Like Xiao Hong is one of the most theoretical people you can find. Like she's very theoretical, like the type of person who finds the functional spaces easy. Like functional analysis, it's easy for her. But she's an amazing person. Like she's kind, she's supportive, um, she is encouraging, she has a lot of energy. So curiously enough, like I had a very theoretical advisor, like Shaw Hong,
Mm.
and the other advisors were like closer to the applied side.
I see. Okay. Well, so how do you find your job market paper? Where is it born?
So that is actually a curious story. So I it was initially I thought like my job market paper would be about MTE with sample selection.
Mm.
Then like Ottavio Bartalotti and Desiree contacted me because like we were working on the same topic, MTE with sample selection.
Mm.
We had different approaches, but the papers were like they complemented each other.
Okay.
And we talked, and they were like, actually, everybody will benefit if we write only one paper.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We joined our efforts. There were Pareto improvements, and it was an amazing experience to work with Ottavio Bartalotti and Desiree Kedani on MT with sample selection.
Yeah.
But then the problem was, all right, now I have a co-authored paper with two other people who are professors, so I
Yeah.
need another job market paper.
Mm.
And all right, it wasn't very stressful. I was still a third year or starting my fourth year. But I had no idea about what to do. So what I did, I went to all seminars that existed. Uh, One, free food. Two, I was looking for important applied problems that needed new tools. Like
Oh.
that's one way that I find research questions. I look for applied questions, applied problems whose solution I find imperfect, and believe I can have a better solution.
I see.
So I went to all possible seminars,
Mm.
and curiously enough, the one that gave me my job market paper was the economic history seminar.
Oh.
It was a presentation by Jaime Arellano Bover about the impact of internment camps, Japanese internment camps in the US, on labor outcomes later on.
Mm.
So during the Second World War, Japanese immigrants in the US were sent to internment camps.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and he was basically running a IV regression, but he didn't observe actual internment. So his treatment was a proxy for the true treatment. Like basically, did the person live in a state that had internment camps and was
Japanese.
Japanese? But
What
one,
percent of Japanese in he can like say he can say something like 70% were interned. He
yes,
he's
he
one of
could
those
say
kind of
that.
things.
Yes,
Okay, got it.
because like the rule was if you were Japanese and lived in Washington, Oregon, California, and I think Nevada, you
Yeah,
were sent to an internment camp.
got it.
If you're Chinese in those states, officially you were safe. If you're Japanese in Ohio, you should be safe too.
Got it. I see.
But some American officials weren't able to differentiate between Japanese
Mm,
and Chinese immigrants were sent to internment camps, and
mm,
also some Japanese in Ohio were arrested and sent to internment camps.
got it. Got it. You're
So he only had a
listening.
proxy.
So you're listening and you catch that.
Exactly. It was like, yeah, you have a really good. I love the idea. Like, it's a really good paper. But
Yeah.
I was like listening, and well, you have an IV problem and you have a good IV, but you also have a measurement error problem. Your treatment variable is not exactly what you want, it's just a proxy for it.
Mm.
Um, and then I said, all right, let's see if there are solutions for that.
Is this how you're getting
Uh,
into partial identification? A little bit?
I got into partial identification
It's
on
not on
my
this
sample
project.
selection work. Yeah.
Is it? It's on this project?
Uh, there's also partial identification on this project too.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
I think all my metrics papers have some partial identification thing.
Oh,
Maybe not in the main text, maybe in the appendix, but all of them have partial identification.
I see.
So like I was, all right, now let's look for how to solve IV problems with misclassified treatment variables.
Misclassified treatment variables.
So I
Or you
found
don't,
really interesting.
is it misclassified treatment variables or is it even more specific than that? Is it
No,
like
it's just
under,
misclassified.
it's not measurement error, or is it?
It's when your variable is binary and you have measurement error, it's common to say misclassification.
I see. Okay. It's not like you're saying though, every zero is right. I just don't know if every one is right.
That's one type of measurement error, but you can have measurement error in
I
both
see. But your
directions.
project's going to be general.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. That's what I was wondering. All right. Keep going.
So at that point, like I was doing the literature review, and I found amazing papers on that topic by Ura, uh, by Liubel, Calvi, and
Oh,
Tomasi.
yeah. Okay.
So those papers are really, really interesting, but they
Yeah.
are basically about late. Like they require you to have a binary IV, a binary treatment, a proxy for your binary treatment,
Yeah.
and you're trying to identify the late. And then I was like, I like MTE. Like
You
I
already
find,
did.
huh?
You already liked marginal treatment effects.
I already like marginal treatment effects. I always found it interesting. Like it offered, in my opinion, a really interesting approach to heterogeneity.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's do that for MTE.
Mm,
So that was basically my job market paper. That is the restat paper now.
mm. Wait, when did it come out in Restat? Is that recent?
Yes, so I submit. It should be 2023. The printed version, I think it's last year.
Uh,
The online version is 2023.
Congratulations. I didn't catch that. I must have
Thank you.
I've known about that because I remember you used to talk about MTE a decent amount on Twitter.
I still talk a lot about MT. I'm more on LinkedIn now than Twitter.
Oh, you're
Uh,
on LinkedIn. Okay. Okay. Um,
I confess that like all the Munsky stuff, it was
yeah.
a bit annoying.
Yeah. Wait, so was it always a thing that you thought I'm gonna go back to San Paulo?
Um, I wouldn't say so. I really enjoyed living in the US. I will not. I really enjoyed the experience. As I said, like I like competition. The US is a very competitive environment.
Hmm.
Um, but my wife didn't enjoy living in the US, and she was like, "I want to go back to Brazil."
Oh, she's Brazilian.
She's Brazilian too. I met her in the US, but she's Brazilian.
Is she an economist?
She's an economist. Yes.
Oh, are y'all both at San Paulo?
No, currently she's starting a postdoc at University of São Paulo.
Wait, how long have you been there?
So I arrived in 2022. She arrived last year.
Okay.
She worked in a think tank for a year, and now she just started a postdoc at the University of São Paulo.
Okay. 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 So it was like you could have stayed if your wife was like super into the United States because you really did like the fight.
Of course, like the job market is always competitive, right? The
Yeah,
job
yeah,
market, like there's a lot of uncertainty there, and it's very, very competitive.
yeah.
Um but yes, I could stay and but like personally we were like, yeah, like my wife didn't like the US too much. Both of us are only child.
Mm.
So like we're at some point we have to take care of
Yeah,
of
yeah,
our
totally,
parents.
totally.
And like my mother-in-law speaks a little bit of English.
Mhm.
My parents don't speak English at
Oh,
all.
oh,
So like, yeah, if you stay in the US, it will not work. So like it actually made sense for us to move back, even individually, it made sense to move back. And I really enjoyed this decision. Like it has been really good for me
Yeah.
to be back in Brazil. So I wanted to go back. Also, my market was just after the pandemic.
Ah,
Um so like everybody was a bit shaken with all the pandemic stuff.
right.
Uh, and I knew that the job market would be tough emotionally. I was already in an emotionally weak place.
Mm.
Um, and then Cristine Pinto, who was my advisor in the masters, moved from FGV to INSPER.
Yeah.
Uh, and then FGV, the São Paulo School of Economics, needed a econometrician, and they needed urgently because they needed this person to teach in May. May
Oh,
2022, they needed someone to teach.
you were
Uh,
on that market. You were, wait, were you going up the next year or you were?
so I I had at that point I had decided to go in 7 years, so I would go in the 2022, 2023.
Yeah.
But FGV needed an econometrician. They actually interviewed a few senior econometricians. They interviewed Otávio Bartalotti, the Caetanos, Carol Caetano and Gregório Caetano, Pedro Santana, Hugo Jales. They interviewed a bunch of people. But it's always hard to attract people from the US, right? The
Yeah.
wages in the US are really good.
Mhm.
Um, so like they were all right. We weren't able to find a senior person to come. We need to find a junior person. And then actually like although like Otávio is my co-author. I have met the Caetanos, Carol and Greg, Hugo and Pedro when I was a master student. I kept in touch with them. And they were like, yeah, like Vitor is a former student of you. He told me that he wants to go back to the US, go back to Brazil. But he's doing 7 years, so it's not clear whether he wants to move back now or just next year. But basically, like Bruno called me and like, let's talk a bit. Um, and like I'm on board. Like I officially like to have a job market paper. I did one extra year, but I have this co-authored project that is I already submitted. I can present these, and they were like, no, no, yeah, fine. Have a fly out here. You present your co-authored paper with Octave and Desiree, and talk a little bit about your solo paper that would be your job market year in the next year.
Yeah.
Your job market paper in the next year. So I actually had a fly out in August 21, and I got a job offer in like September 21, and I was
Oh.
like, yeah, I accept. So I had one fly out, one offer, and I only applied to one school, and I didn't went to the market at all. Uh,
Oh,
and
that's a
that was
happy
amazing
story.
for me.
That's a happy story.
Yes, I think so. FGV is a great place. We have a very friendly and nurturing environment.
Hmm.
One thing that I love about here is that they really protect the junior faculty time. So
Hmm.
like as an AP, I do very, very little service.
Hmm.
Like the only service I do is I manage the Twitter account of the São
Hmm.
Paulo School of Economics. That's all I do in terms of service.
Okay.
Um, and I find that really important because
Yeah.
then I have more time for research.
Yeah.
Um, and also the group here is very friendly.
Yeah.
So basically, we have lunch vouchers, but we can only spend our lunch vouchers in one restaurant. So everybody goes to the same restaurant and everybody
Oh,
has lunch together.
yeah.
So I find that like really nice
Yeah.
because you actually meet with all your colleagues in a more informal setting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion about soccer.
Mm.
It's quite fun.
That's
I find
awesome.
here friendly and nurturing.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. Um, Well, let me just end with this. Well, what are you what are you working on right now that you're really excited about?
So I would say I have two working papers that I'm working right now. I'm both excited. One is I have actually three working papers that I'm working now, but I will talk just about two. One is about domestic violence
Mm.
and how female judges analyze domestic violence cases in a different way than male judges.
Oh, really?
Um, so, for example, they are tougher than male judges when analyzing domestic violence cases,
Tougher on
and
tougher on on who?
than male judges. So, if you compare female judges analyzing domestic violence cases,
What does it mean to
their
be tough? What's it mean to be tough? They're
the
holding them.
conviction rate is larger.
It's higher. Got it. Okay.
Yes. So this project is co-authored with Helena Lanelville.
Hmm.
She
And are they
has worked on.
randomizing?
Huh?
Are they
They
randomizing?
randomize judges. Yes.
Oh,
And also we observe many characteristics of those cases. So, for example, we know that female judges are tougher than male judges only when the case is a intimate partner violence case. If it's like, let's say, vertical domestic violence against kids or elderly parents, then there's no difference.
hmm.
Like the difference only happens when it's intimate partner violence. Also, curiously enough, like we also know when the defendant was caught red-handed. So, like if somebody calls the police arrives at the scene of the crime and get caught. They get the defendant. They see the defendant committing the crime. That's caught like let's say caught red-handed.
Yeah.
Uh, and female judges are tougher than male judges only when the defendant is not caught red-handed. So uh,
They're not.
when they're not. So, like when the evidence is more subjective, when the evidence is basically like witness testimonies, uh, that's exactly when female judges behave differently. And we are trying to understand why, and we have the full text of the sentences. So,
Oh,
uh,
really?
yes,
You know
like
what the judges are saying?
we know what the judges are saying. Like it's a
So
30-page
what are
document.
the female judges and what are the male judges saying?
That's what we are working on. Like the basically the referee said you have to do this,
Oh,
and
so what
now
are
we
you
are
gonna do?
working on that.
What are you gonna do? How are you gonna analyze the text?
So the most basic things to do are the texts longer. Like are the
Word
judges
count.
saying more? That's very easy to
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, then there's also a lot of natural language tools that we can
Hmm.
use to basically implement sentiment analysis. Like, uh, are the judges, either female or male judges, using harsher language? Uh, there are also ways to measure if the language is more emotive, like are there more emotions in the text? We are trying to explore those things, but it's very preliminary, so that we don't have results yet.
Right.
But I'm very curious to see what will
Oh,
happen.
that is absolutely cool. That is really cool. I mean, one hypothesis is that the female judges have all this tacit knowledge, like they just know. It's not that it may not even be that it is subjective. It's
Yeah,
more like they know exactly how to interpret these other things. And if that
exactly.
is true, then somehow if you could categorize what those are, you could just see if it's showing up more.
So, for example, we know, like using those types of texts, we know if the victim uh, actually gave a testimony that was long or short.
Mm,
When the victim was being interviewed by the defense attorney and also by the state attorney,
yeah.
uh, did the victim actually said stuff, or just like no comment, no comment, no comment.
You
We
want
can
to
actually
find
observe those things.
every choice that the judge makes, right? Like
Exactly.
even allowing certain kinds of evidence to be admitted is a choice that she might or he might be making, right? So,
Yeah, we can observe like how many hearings,
yeah.
we can observe how many witnesses.
Mm.
We are trying to basically like uh, transform this type of information in numbers so we can actually use for data analysis. Because
Man,
like
that is cool.
this data set was organized by the court system, which is
Wow.
basically lawyers. Uh,
I mean,
Lawyers have no idea how data works.
handling all that text is going to be a lot of skill.
It has been painful. We do have to learn a lot of stuff. It has been quite an interesting process. Like Ellen and I, we are learning a lot, but it's quite an exciting project.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, I mean, I've not seen anybody do that in the judge literature. I've not seen
There
anybody.
has been some recent work.
Oh, is there really?
There's a lot of discussion about judicial bias. In the
Sure.
US, a lot of stuff about partisan bias, but also race and gender shows up.
But
And more recently,
the
huh?
text, though, I haven't seen the text as an outcome in the leniency judge papers. Is that
In the
common?
leniency judge papers, no. Like
Oh,
basically, it's the conviction rate.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right,
Uh,
right.
but for example, there's some recent work from China analyzing like gender bias, and
Mm,
then they actually like have to look at the text. So
mm.
there's a lot of stuff happening that is quite interesting.
She, the judge, sets the sentence. So when you say she's tougher, it is because she has some discretion. She says, and this is going to be 10 years, or this is going to be 5 years, or whatever. She's
So
got, there's not mandatories that
no,
she
so
has to
similar
stick
to
to.
France, the
Uh-huh.
judge in Brazil sets everything,
Ah.
including the guilty, not guilty part.
Oh, so it's not even going through a jury?
It does not go to a jury. So in Brazil,
Oh.
only crimes against life go to a jury. So like murder, manslaughter, uh, uh, incentivizing suicide and abortion, they
Yeah,
are crimes against life and go to a jury.
got it.
All other crimes, bench trial.
Ah,
There's a professional judge, and that's also an important aspect for us. Like, it is a professional judge, it's not an elected judge.
yeah.
Those judges, they go through a exam. They take an exam usually when they are like 28, 29, 30 years old. And when they enter the judicial career, usually they retire as judges.
Ah,
Uh, because it's an awesome gig, like it's really well paid. You cannot be fired. Um, so we have judges who are civil employees, employees of the state. They do not go through elections, so like the risk of partisan bias is much, much smaller. And basically they do that. Like that's their job forever.
mm.
Uh, so we believe it's also like a more controlled environment.
Richard, that is the coolest fountain paper.
Ah, thank you.
Really, really going to be cool. I mean, you're right. Like, there's a lot of the times the black box of, I mean, this doesn't, I don't know if this is bias. It doesn't have to be bias. It
In
could
the
be
paper, we
like,
do avoid the word bias. That is
yeah, it's
important.
like
We
different. It's
just
a
say
different
conviction rate
response.
gap.
Right, right,
Uh,
right, right, right.
Like it's always complicated to say that judges are biased. I
Yeah.
shouldn't say
Because
that.
if it's like,
Judges are different.
if it's one group is better at evaluating the evidence, it wouldn't be bias. It would be a difference in skill or something. I mean, and this,
Exactly.
oh, okay. Wow. Wow. Well, good luck with that. Good luck
Ah,
on that
thank you.
R&R.
No,
Well,
it got rejected. Like, but we got reports, and the reports
oh,
were very clear. Like, this is necessary to get published in a good journal.
got it. Got it. Cool. Well, man, I really have enjoyed this. I don't feel like well, this is
Thank you.
we've talked by Twitter and have not gotten to know each other. So I really thank you for giving me an hour and a half of your time.
Thank you. And it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah.
It has been a new experience to me. That's the first time I actually do an interview, so it was really nice.
Okay, good. Good. Well, I'm glad. Well, Maybe we'll run into each other. We'll get some. We'll get a beer or whatever. What's the favorite pastime with people? Is it having a beer or is it something else in Brazil?
No, no, it's mostly beers and caipirinhas. That's the most
Okay, we'll
common
do both of those.
alcohol-based drinks.
Okay, good, good. We'll do both of those, and I'll tell you which ones I like better. All right.
Sure.
Well, good. Have a good rest of the week.
You too.
All right.
All right.
She hated when I called.